All right, so we're just gonna go over why I took gold buys the other day. So it's come to my attention that most of my mistakes would be rectified if I just had even more of an aerial view. So that just means looking at things from the monthly and weekly time frame, looking at how the previous candle closed and how this weekly candle is most likely to close, right? So we'll go to the monthly time frame. First things first, I already see that I'm in an area of extreme demand right here. So if you look at how the weekly candle last closed, you see that price created this massive wick. Okay, first of all, this is not how it looked. The brokers be playing with me. One day, whatever. For example, sometimes there's a Sunday candle and sometimes there's not. Like you see how this is Friday and this is Monday? Sometimes there's a Sunday candle and sometimes there's not. And before then, this weekly candle was just bearish with a massive wick, and this was an engulfing. So it was just an engulfing pattern with, vectoring to the downside. But anyhow, aside from the fact that the candles keep switching, which is weird, um, the weekly created support on a really, really heavy monthly level. So that was my reason for buying yesterday. But what really happened is at first I had a bearish bias, right? Because the Sunday candle was actually a doji. So I guess it'd just be disappearing sometimes. It's the weirdest thing. I'm gonna take a screenshot next time. I took sells yesterday, right? This was my trade. My stops right above here. And then price came in here and I exited at a 1 to 4. So that was a really, really good price. And then after I saw how strong this price closed, I was like, let me go back to the weekly time frame. And then I was like, okay. The previous candle closed as a well, engulfing. It wasn't engulfing. And then we're also on this level, and the fact that we're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, a potential higher low. I don't know how far this could go. All I know is that we could probably end up going back to maybe if it ends up breaking through this level, this could be the next level it comes to right there. So yeah, that was my logic for that. On the other US pairs, I have a buy bias for EU. I had a sell bias for NU because it just looked really bearish. But then I realized there's a possibility that where it is now and where it's rejecting from. You see, I had a bearish bias for NU regardless. And then this candle shot up instead. And I was like, all right, cool. I don't know what it's going to do. But if this candle closes bearish, there is a potential price can continue down. It's just that, yeah, NU is not like the other pairs. I'm not even going to lie. She's different. Because the other pairs on the weekly are bullish, GU, EU, and NU has a bullish structure, but NU is it just seems straight up bearish. However, I did make a note that, like, for example, this could be what's happening here, right? A head and shoulders. We have the shoulder, we have the head, and now we have another shoulder. And I could have gotten some really, really good buys last week had I noticed that we were on one, weekly support, and two, the previous weekly candle closes a doji. So that just means that we have a lot of sellers exhaustion, meaning a lot of buyers could come into the market that day, or that week, which is what happened. But now I'm thinking, because of where it is, Like, these are my weekly levels. If you're rejecting this right now, and you already created, yeah, we'll have to see how this closes. Because if this closes, I don't like taking the 4-hour confirmations, but I do like how this candle is weak. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Now, I will say I would probably take NU sells tomorrow, but because all the other US pairs are bullish, it just makes me a little bit more hesitant. So I'll probably just move on after that. Oh, I don't have to make it. Oh yeah, and GJ on the weekly, bruh. When this weekly candle closed like that, matter of fact, when this weekly candle closed all week compared to this one here, I was like, there's a possibility it might start to slow down and turn around. And after this candle, I was like, yeah, I have a bearish bias for this week. However, I haven't gotten into any sells because there hasn't really been a pullback that I was comfortable with. So we kind of just ignored it and have been trading gold. And she's been nice to me. I didn't even say what my entry was for gold. So my entry, after I realized that price had way more bullish momentum, was after this 30-minute candle closed, that massive bullish engulfing. This is what I decided to do. So this is the trade I'm waiting on. This is the only trade I've taken this week. So yeah, we're gonna see what happens. And we don't have any US news today, I don't think. Nah. Now we have NZD news at 10. So I don't know, maybe price could fly up. I don't really like trend lines too much. But yeah, maybe price could come back to this level, create support, and then continue bullish. I don't know. But all I know is that we got a lot of volatility coming up for NZD, so we'll see what happens.